On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The Warm-Up with Alan Brazil and Mike Parry on talkSPORT.
Minutes past 11 o'clock. What the heck am I doing here, Porky? Good morning. That's right. Well, I wouldn't go as far to say the Titans, but we're back together for one time only. It's me and Mike Porky Parry until 1 o'clock. Is that all you do these days? 2 hours?
Yeah, well, the thing is, Al, it's all about quality, not quantity. Do you see what I mean?
No.
You know, I don't need 4 hours to convince people that the wisdom which I have is partaken into their brains over a shorter period of time.
I've not seen you for ages. You haven't changed.
I have changed a bit.
When I heard a legend had died, an old legend had died, just I thought that was you.
Well, that's very nice, isn't it? Thank you very much indeed. But I'll tell you what, come back any time you like, because, it's better to have you sitting there than that fat, low-faced oaf, MG, who's getting on my nerves because I'm doing all the work back here in London. He's lying on a sun lounger somewhere in Rhodes.
That's because he's got friends. He can go on holiday with friends.
Oh, that's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Coming up this morning, we'll be discussing the weekend's action. We'll talk to Birmingham boss Harry Redknapp. Ooh, an angry Harry, I think.
Yep.
We'll look back on the fantastic career of Bruce Forsyth. Fabulous. Good morning. You're listening to a very special warm-up on talkSPORT. Right, 11. There it was yesterday.
Yes. Yep.
I had to do a little bit of shopping, and it just reminded me of the time you got kicked out of Waitrose wine bar.
I didn't. I've never been kicked out of the Waitrose.
Yes, you have. She says,
I didn't even know
Alan.
there's a wine bar in Waitrose.
You're a liar.
No, it's a champagne bar, and I don't drink champagne. I don't drink
liar.
champagne because only 1/3 of my heart works. And actually, only 1/3 of my heart works, probably because after doing the breakfast show with you for 5 years, I ended up with acute heart failure. Okay?
But you should have learned your lesson by now. You know, the women ask you 4 times, please, Mr. Parry, can you keep your voice down?
Oh,
People
that's
are complaining.
so untrue, honestly. It's so untrue. You always besmirch my reputation. But anyway, I understand that you've become a man of culture and you now decide to spend your time out of this studio in cinematic productions. What are you seeing lately?
I went to watch last night Dunkirk, and the best thing about it was the pizza.
So that was the pizza.
I have to say, I've never been so disappointed in a while seeing a movie.
Well, John, who is our overnight boy, when we used to do overnights, which you don't do anymore because we've become day creatures, right? He is also a very experienced theatre critic, and he watches films in here and in France. He said it was the greatest film he's ever seen. He gives it 10 out of 10.
Get lost. You got the right film.
Honestly, Dunkirk, he said it's noisy, it's a bit noisy, he said, but actually, the quality of the content...
Well, most wars are a bit noisy. He sounds a right dope.
Right, so, he's the talkSPORT film critic.
He sounds... Who?
John...
no, it's Jamie. Jamie East does it.
No.
Jamie does it, doesn't he?
No, John Hearn, honestly, believe me.
He's talking about the wrong movie.
No.
He's talking about Platoon or something.
Apocalypse Now. He's not. He reviewed it and said, one of the greatest films ever.
Get lost.
He actually came in and said, I'm so impressed with this film.
Saving Private Ryan is 100 times better.
Yeah, well, so what was wrong with it then?
It was for me. There was no story.
Really?
Honestly.
What was it about? Just blokes floating around in the English Channel?
Well, they were trying to get home, weren't they?
Yeah, well,
think about it.
Of course they're trying to
get. Get the history books out in a minute.
I tell you, what about Kenneth Branagh, Sir Kenneth Branagh? Whenever I look at Sir Kenneth Branagh in a film, I always think he thinks that he's doing us all a favour by being in this film. You know what I mean?
I have to say, and maybe it was just me. Maybe
I am Lord Olivier.
I did have a little bit of a liquid lunch beforehand.
Okay,
but nothing crazy.
Okay.
I've had a great week. Langan's Thursday, and yesterday I was at a new little place I might take you to in Smithfield. Very nice.
Yeah, but you call that a great week. I call that wasting your time.
Why?
Because you're not, productively investing your time.
When you do
improving
4 hours
yourself.
every day, man, you do need a little bit of a break.
Yeah, okay. Now, let me ask you this. Are you sure you were watching the right film? Because if you had a liquid lunch followed by, a few sherbets during the course of the film...
Well, it's nice. It's that little cinema Canary Wharf where you sit down, they've got a proper pizza oven, so you have a little pizza, a little bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Mrs. Brazil was with me, so it was very, very enjoyable. But
very civilised,
I was waiting for something to happen.
And nothing ever happened.
No, not for me.
No, what about the Spitfires? I mean, weren't they coming in and defending everybody and all that kind of stuff?
Ish.
Yeah,
ish.
okay.
There's a couple of them.
All right, well, listen, I tell you what, have you heard what Harry's had to say about his... I'm sorry, I shouldn't be so casual. Harry Redknapp, of course, the Birmingham manager, and he's getting down to business now because they lost to Burton last night, right? Burton, as I said earlier, I mean, they weren't even a football team about 10 or 15 years ago.
I did speak to Nigel Clough yesterday,
and
Nigel was saying we haven't started too well, so...
Yes.
You know, that was a shot in the arm for them.
Yes.
But Harry must be so frustrated.
Well, he is, yeah.
If you look at Harry's squad, what he inherited and what he's got now, there's not a lot of difference.
He said that. He said the team that he put out last night was the same team that he saved from relegation by the skin of their teeth last season. And so he's got to do things. Now, they haven't got very long to do them, have they? So, because, of course, the season moves on. I mean, Steve Bruce, I heard him say as well, because they've had a disappointing start at Aston Villa. He said, well, yeah, but we've got like 43 games to go. You know, They play 46 games in the Championship, they've played 3. So they've got to get moving, because if you lose these points early in the season, don't you double up the amount of effort you've got to... It's almost like a runner suddenly falling back from the lead in 3 or 4 places. You've got to then redouble your efforts to get back up there.
Well, I'm told Harry was really, really angry. We're going to speak to Harry, but let's hear what he had to say after the game.
I keep saying, you don't go 25 games and win 2 out of 25. We're virtually the same team, you know. No one's going to walk in and go, OK, lads, sprinkle stardust on you. You're a new little boys this year. Forget that you ruined Zola last year. This year we're going to be different. You know, very difficult. What I need is to change a lot of them, because they're not good enough for Birmingham City. This is a fantastic football club. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not standing here trying to win points out with the Birmingham fans. This is a fantastic football club with unbelievable support. They came there tonight, they sung their heads off, and they deserve to have a good team.
There you go, Harry. Yeah, you hear what he said there. You ruined Zola.
Well, yeah, OK. I will have to accept that from Harry Redknapp. He's such an experienced manager and a man who's achieved great things in football. My own personal view with Mr. Zola is that he was a great, great footballer who never went across the divide successfully into management. I don't think he's had a successful manager's job.
Carefully what Harry's saying. He's saying... You cost Zola his job because you're not good enough. Yes. And you haven't given him the effort that I require now, and you're not giving me it.
Yeah, but my view is if the players aren't good enough, Zola should have got rid of them, because he was the manager, and if he's playing with players at substandard, that was his decision, nobody else's. Harry's now recognised they're substandard, and he's now obviously saying, I've got to do something about it.
Well, he's saying to the board now, look, there is someone between him and the board.
Right.
And I'll ask Harry that. And I don't think Harry's getting what he wants. He wants to bring in new faces. He wants maybe 4 or 5 new players in, fresh faces, and he's continually been told no.
Right, OK. So that is frustrating for any manager, isn't it, who's not getting who feels he's not getting the support of the board, particularly as he will feel that he's owed one for coming in very late in last season and rescuing them from, the prospect of relegation.
And by the way, he's jumping his car. He's doing thousands of miles looking at players as well.
I bet he is, I bet he is.
And he's, it's been a waste of time at the moment because they're not backing him.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Now, a bit later in the show, Al, we're going to talk also about Coutinho. He's got to go now, hasn't he? £118 million.
Well, I think
how on earth could you turn that down?
No, I think Klopp's desperately trying. Please don't sell him. Don't sell him from under me.
Yeah.
If you do, we can't win the Premiership. Don't sell him. But I think they'll cave in because I think he wants to go with the greatest respect to him.
He does.
I think privately he wants to go to the new
club.
Well,
he's asked for a transfer. What greater indication can you get of the desire to get away? Look, he's not saying I don't want to be at Liverpool anymore. He's saying I want to go to Barcelona because it is one of the iconic clubs in the world, isn't it? And the thing with Liverpool is that's not their biggest problem. The biggest problem is they need a defender. In the very same way, after going up to Goodison last week and watching Everton beat Stoke 1-0 with the Rooney goal, Everton clearly need an attacker. So either side
Vardy for Everton.
Well, you see, now that's very interesting. You mentioned that to me earlier. Have you heard a whisper on the grapevine that Vardy...
No, I'm just trying to wind you up.
Well, you're winding me up. Because I think that's a brilliant idea. And I hope that somebody from Everton's listening. Because
his second goal against the Arsenal, wasn't it?
Well, both his goals.
What a ball. And he was just on it like flash. Boom, get in.
Yeah, but both his goals were brilliant, opportunist goals. He's a true centre-half, isn't he? And talking about centre-halves, by the way, I must repeat to you what I've said before on other shows. If I was Jose Mourinho, I'd strike while the iron's hot while there's still a bit of sort of unrest at Spurs about... I mean, they've just brought a player in. They just played £40 million for a defender, but there's still a bit of unrest at Spurs. They've got this massive game this weekend at Wembley, be the first league game at Wembley, and And if I was Jose Mourinho, I'd go to the people who run Manchester United and say, offer Spurs 110 million for Harry Kane.
No chance.
Well,
No chance.
I'm telling you,
No
they've got a new stadium now, which started, I'm told, on a budget of 400 million, is now a budget of 800 million to complete it. And, you know, as good as Mr. Levy is at handling figures, you're going to need a lot more money to finish that stadium than you thought. And I know you don't want to sell your best players, and it would be a terrible tragedy to the Spurs fans, but I'm talking about the cut and thrust and the ruthless nature of football.
Who's picking these? You're picking this?
No, I don't know where that comes from. That's the worst record I've ever heard, Crazy Horses.
No. You told me once you liked the Osmonds.
Oh, no, I did not.
Yeah, you did.
That is an outrageous thing to say.
That's your iPad playing.
No, it's not. That's an outrageous thing to say. What happened there was the Osmonds, probably can't remember them, little Jimmy Osmond and all that. Everybody said they're just a bubblegum group, so they wrote that ridiculous record to prove that we can be a rock and roll band, you know. Utter nonsense. Listen,
here we go,
yeah.
Right? Completely agree with Alan, Mr. Parry.
Yes.
Watching Dunkirk was like watching Everton. Big hype, but disappointing.
Who's that come from? Sorry, do we have some Juice Ed who's in touch with the programme this morning? Thank you very much indeed.
I just heard the advert there, so maybe as I say, maybe it was me, but honestly, I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you're disappointed.
Yeah.
Talking about Everton, by the way, let me be 100% honest. It was great to get up there last week, because of course Rooney came back into the team, and there's lots of excitement about. I thought we played it a bit. A bit crab-like and that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, we can talk about that later.
Delighted.
Got the result.
Yeah, delighted. Very disappointing Birmingham result. Well done, Barton. But Harry Redknapp joins us now. Harry, morning, Harry.
Alan, good morning. How you doing?
Yeah, you sounded angry, Harry. You sounded angry. You sounded frustrated that they're not giving you it all.
No, I think they're giving it all. I just think we're a little bit short of, we're a bit short of quality, really, at the moment. We've been trying to improve the squad, and that's what's been the most frustrating thing, getting players in, really. But
is that because there is no money, Harry, or is
there's money out for the right players? The owners are very, they're very keen to be. They want to be successful, and they're very ambitious. And it's not easy to get players in. It's been difficult, Al. Even when you're trying to loan kids from clubs now.
Yeah.
It's a changing world. I mean, they want massive loan fees, £1 million loan fee for kids.
Mm. And I take it that is not the answer. Your own kids, giving 3 or 4 of them a chance.
Well, if you've got good enough kids, you'll play them. I mean, definitely play them. But at the moment, there's not a big group of kids that are ready to play. I'm sure we've got some good. Birmingham's a club that has produced players and will continue to produce players. Good area, got a good academy. But at the moment, there's not too many sort of knocking the door down to make you think they should be in the first team.
Harry, without intruding on private grief, are you involved in a committee here which is going to buy these players, or do you have absolute and sole control? And is your frustration basically persuading other people to go in your direction, or because you aren't able to agree with somebody else?
No, I have control, Mike. It's players that I want. I wouldn't let anyone else bring players I don't want. And
sure.
So no, that's not a problem for me. As I say, it's just getting the deals over the line's been the problem. We sort of went and tried to get a player last week, and then he didn't get a work permit. Yet he's a sort of captain Nigeria. But they've dropped out of the top 50 suddenly. They've gone 54th in the world. So suddenly he can't get a work permit, the kid.
Is that right?
That's shocking. And of course, Harry, Birmingham are perceived as a big club, aren't they? So when you go to smaller clubs, they're going to be looking for more money than you think that player might be worth, maybe.
Well, that happens. But as I say, the couple that we thought we had, Mike, we had the boy with the work permit who was... He played at Lazio, then he went to Turkey and played, and then he was a captain Nigeria. And then the one before that, we had a boy from Udinese who, at the last moment, Badu, a fantastic midfield player, decided to go. He went to Turkey as well. Mm-hmm. Obviously, more money there.
I was going to say a lot of happening in Turkey.
Pardon?
A lot happening in Turkey.
The money must be good, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah,
Harry,
sure.
You got Bournemouth in the Cup, and then you got, Reading home, Norwich away, Leeds away.
Yeah, tough games, yeah.
Bournemouth, it'd be nice to take on your local club then.
Well, I'm going to watch them today, actually, Al. They're playing at home today, Bournemouth, so we play them Tuesday night. But, the league is all, we want to try to get a result, but the league is all important to us this year, really. I want to be up there challenging. Yeah. And I still feel by the end of the window I'll have a team that can do that.
OK, now, Harry, I heard you speaking. You said that your ambition is to get into the top 6. That Absolutely. I know that you're a very ambitious man. I know you've achieved much, but that is a terrific target to set yourself, isn't it? Considering how you ended last season.
Yeah, well, last season, obviously, you know where they finished, and so it's got to be a massive improvement. But no, that's the aim, Mike. Nothing else would satisfy me this year.
So you're looking for a playoff place?
Absolutely.
And a game at Wembley?
That'll do me. Last-minute goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Game.
Yeah, well,
Bobby Zamora.
That's right, absolutely. So you get used to that one, couldn't you?
Harry, enjoy it today, Harry. Enjoy Bournemouth today, mate. No racing then. Cheers, Harry.
Thanks, Harry.
Harry Redknapp.
Thank you very much.
Harry's saying there, no, it's just hard. It's not a case of someone stopping them. No. It's getting the deal over the line.
Yeah. Well, football
has gone crazy. Hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, football's such an international business now. Anyway, you've got to be aware of the rules and regulations which cover it. And also, as he said, he's lost a couple of players who've gone to Turkey. It's weird to think that in this country where we generate more money in football than anybody else, we can start getting outbid by clubs in Turkey. And nothing wrong with Turkey. Obviously, it's a fine tradition of a footballing nation. But you might have thought there'd have been a bit more money here with the sort of revenues we generate.
A couple of nice emails here, Mike. talkSPORT, Mike Parry. Saturdays can't get better. The Port Manchester and Brazil. Perfection is back, just waiting for wing mirrors on horses. We are not going down that route again.
We certainly are not going that.
I honestly, and I thought I was going mad in those days. I did. I agree with Alan. The film was awful. 1958 version with John Mills, a classic, and is much closer to history. So another one who didn't like Dunkirk.
That's right.
I'll tell you what we're going to talk about as well, Mike. Chelsea.
Yes.
You mentioned about Spurs against Chelsea. Big game.
Yes.
One of the papers today, back page, Conte in a mess. Roman calls for a crisis meeting.
Yes, that's right. And you know what? It's so hard to understand what's going on at Chelsea. He's only just won the Premier League. It was in his first season he came here. A lot of to and fro over the summer. The elephant in the room at Chelsea is Costa, isn't it? Without a shadow of a doubt. And
well, I tell you what I've been told, mate.
Yep.
That the players are they're unhappy with the manager. He demands so much.
Well,
so much.
Well, is that a bad thing?
Well, you know what players are like now? They're fragile, aren't they? They want not all their own way, but. They don't like, they have a comfort zone. I think he's pushing and pushing and pushing. You see what he's like on the touchline.
Yes, you can.
But, how can you go from champions to disarray? And that's what it's saying. Conte in a mess. I need 4 years to fix Chelsea. That's right. Claims the manager.
By the way, did you know that I'm the only person probably in this country who predicted a Burnley win at Chelsea? Did you know that? No, I did.
Rubbish.
I did.
What, on the Monday morning?
No. I was assessing the options, right, and I had to come up with 3 scores, and I came up with Everton to win. I came up with Manchester United.
That's a shock, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Manchester United to win. That was 4-0. And I said Burnley...
Get lost. I want to hear that.
I said Burnley have a great chance because I think Chelsea are in disarray, and Burnley could just snatch a victory. Do you know what I got for that treble? 39-1.
Show me.
Prove
it.
I don't carry betting slips around with me, OK? But I can tell you, I'm smarter than the average bear.
So you're still smoking, you're still having 2 bottles of wine a day, now you're betting.
No.
Sad news about Bruce.
Very sad news. Very sad news. I mean,
where was that? He blanked you somewhere, didn't he? You and Bruce. He just walked past you.
No, he didn't. He didn't. Honestly, I found him actually to be one of the most hospitable and entertaining sort of men, without any side to him that I've ever met.
I think it was at Ascot Races, and then the other one, Frederick Forsyth. Now that was embarrassing.
Are you mad?
In the Bull wine vault, he totally gave you a blank.
Excuse me, I spoke to Mr. Forsyth on the phone only last week, about the state of the nation, and he remembers.
So are you denying that Frederick Forsyth blanked you in the Bull wine vault?
He did not blank me.
Yeah.
No. You must have been watching somebody else. Anyway, we've got a...
Frederick.
Excuse me.
Can I have the cheque, please? And off he went.
Excuse me. We've got an expert to talk to now. There's Caroline Frost, OK?
Morning, Caroline.
Good morning.
Caroline, how are you?
Very, very sad news. A great age, but, when it hits you, you think, oh, what a shame.
Exactly. A great age, not necessarily unexpected, but definitely marking the end of an era. And I know we always say that. We always kind of wheel out the usual platitudes, national treasure, end of an era. But with Sir Bruce, I really think it's justified, because it had been his career is actually in the Guinness Book of Records as the longest ever entertainment career.
Is that right?
So it's not just us us saying it. And yes, I mean, a 75-year career. He made his debut in 1939, wartime,
Incredible.
on the stage as an 11-year-old. And obviously, as we can tell, he just kept going. So yes. Quite remarkable passing of a pretty singular showman, I think.
I mean, the amazing thing, Caroline, is that, we all get to a certain age where we don't like to think back to the entertainers of yesteryear. Every time I mention the Beatles, everybody says, they were 40 years ago, something like that. But Bruce Forsyth was already in his stride when I was a kid, aged about 10, and on a Saturday night we all sat down in front of the telly to watch, London Palladium or something like that. He was well established then, so he has been a part of the lives of everybody of my age, all their lives, if you see what I mean.
Yes, totally. And I mean, and as you say, that every single generation will have one favourite memory of him. The Generation Game, Play Your Cards Right, and then more recent, younger people will obviously just think of Strictly and the way he just took that, what has become a pretty world-dominating TV franchise, and made it his own. So, as you say, something for everybody. And it's pretty impressive. Yeah.
Certainly.
Caroline, thank you. Caroline Frost there. Did I tell you? Thank you, Caroline.
Thanks, Caroline.
You mentioned the London Palladium.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you I was in the crowd the night Tommy Cooper died?
Well, funny enough, when somebody spoke to me this morning and said, we'll do this, I said, I'll talk to Al about it. I said to them, Al actually has got a very interesting showbiz story. And
well, it was bizarre.
Where were you?
It was London Palladium.
Yeah.
It was bizarre. I was with Graham Roberts and his wife, and me and the wife.
What was the actual show?
It was a night at the London Palladium
with Tommy Cooper, or was it a variety show?
No. There was loads of different guests, right?
Yes.
And when I suddenly nudged Graham, I went, "There's something wrong here," because he was taking a bow, and then suddenly the curtains closed, and his feet were sticking through the.
See, that's amazing.
People were laughing, thinking it was all part of it.
Yeah, well, it would be with Tommy Cooper.
Size 14s were sticking out through the curtains.
Yeah,
and Howard Keel, remember Howard Keel?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah, from Dallas.
So he was singing, and I'm thinking, this guy's a big star, Howard Keel. This cannot be part of the act.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Well, why was he put on front of stage to cover up what was going on behind the curtain?
They wouldn't move, poor Tommy.
Did you see the legs then disappear back under the curtain?
Just like that.
No.
Eventually, he took the applause, and then the big curtain came, and then out come Donny Osmond. It's amazing we're talking about the Osmonds, Ellen.
Yeah.
He came out and finished the show. Tarby was the compere.
Right, okay.
And then we didn't hear till the next day that Tommy died on stage.
No, well, that's right. So did anybody on the stage say, Tommy's been taken ill or anything like that?
No, nothing.
So you didn't leave the theatre that night thinking Tommy Cooper's died of a heart attack?
But I didn't know till the next day.
Yeah, very strange, isn't it? Funny, I met him. I didn't meet him.
How would you like to go?
Sorry? What do you mean, how would I like to go?
How would you like to go?
What a macabre question.
In your local. In front of the mic, In
front of the mic, yeah. Well, I've never really thought about it, Al, because the thing is, as everybody knows, only 1/3 of my heart works anyway. So, I mean...
you're saying it's not long?
Well, no, I'm not saying it's not long. I'm saying that, who knows, it could be quite sudden. However, I have made absolutely sure, and I bet you haven't done this, that my affairs are in order, you know what I mean?
Of course I have.
Yeah, my affairs are completely in order, so it doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? A long life is a good life, obviously.
What are you going to do while the dough?
What do you mean?
Well, who are you going to, who are you leaving it to?
Well,
don't leave me any.
Well, the thing is, you see, you have this presumption I've got any dough. How do you know that I haven't sort of reinvested it into other things?
A man with 8 properties hasn't got any dough.
Now, listen, this is all mythology. MG's on my back all the time about it. The point is, if you've been a wise investor during your life...
This is why people do not have places to live, because people like you have 8 properties.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it? It's a bit harsh. I mean, look, if one didn't invest in the property market, there wouldn't be a demand demand for property, and therefore we wouldn't have a buoyant economy. That's all I can say. But I don't know why we're talking about this, because the audience are really not interested in this at all.
So when you say you later, I'm going home, I never know what part of the country you're going to.
Well, I mean, that's not quite true. I mean, I either live in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey.
Portsmouth?
Near, well,
Suffolk?
Yes. No, well, yes, I suppose so. But
Greenwich?
anyway, look.
There's loads of them.
No. Now, listen, I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to draw your attention.
He crosses the road and he thinks, what train station will I go to?
No.
Are you a Zeppelin fan, mate?
I was as a sort of teenager. Fantastic. I mean, you'd never heard anything like it, because...
Did you go... Did you frequent the uni bar and stuff like that?
Well, like heavy metal and all that kind of stuff. No, not really, because I loved all this, but... Do you know I couldn't listen to it at length because their LPs were some of the first where all the music seemed to merge into each other, you know what I mean? You know, where traditionally when we were brought up it was 3 minutes for a track or 4 minutes for a track, and then this came along, this heavy metal, and it just went on and on and on, and eventually...
69 tomorrow, Robert Plant.
Absolutely, and he's still got hair as long as he had it in those days, and that, I mean, they truly...
I was going to play Stairway to Heaven, but the producer says, no, don't do that, Mike.
Oh, you see, you think about the... What? This is outrage. It's an outrage. You're trying to give the audience a sort of impression that I'm on the brink, that I'm on the edge, that something's going to happen. I mean, I'm going to complain to the management. No, what I was going to say there was it was such a different sort of music. Nobody had ever heard about it before. And you know that Keith Moon, who was the legendary drummer in The who went in the 27 Club, he died when he was 27, like a lot of pop stars.
Drove a Rolls Royce
into a swimming pool and all that kind of stuff. But the guy who went to him was Jimmy Page, who played in the Yardbirds, I think, right? And he said, we're going to form this supergroup, and he told him who was going to be in it, and Keith Moon said, Jimmy, that'll go down like a lead balloon. And from that, to tease him and to taunt him, he said, right, we're not going to be a lead balloon, we're going to be a Led Zeppelin. But then, when they got their manager together, he said, we'll knock the A out because L-E-A-D will be read like Lead Zeppelin in America. Just call it L-E-D, and that's where it came from.
Yeah.
So, and they conquered the world, didn't they?
Now, what about this? Have you read the story? Oh, by the way, let me do a couple of these.
Yeah, go on,
where is it? Alan Brazil, Porky, Comedy Gold.
Yeah.
That's Muggy Mike. Who's Muggy Mike?
I know.
Great to listen to the two biggest contributors to Clips of the Week on together. That's Pinky and Perky. Morning to the A-Force. Great to hear you back together. Check out Porky's Cinnamon Challenge Owl. Very funny. I told him to do it.
Nearly killed me.
That was Carl in Chester.
I'll be there this weekend.
The Glory Years are back. Big Alan, Porky are back. World class radio. I've listened since the year 2000 to talkSPORT and used to love you boys on breakfast. You both legends. World class, magnificent radio lads. Thank you.
That's really kind. Thank you very much indeed.
And a lovely surprise to have the big man on the weekend. I can only assume you two are off a bit of a bladderation after the show, says Johnny.
Well, listen,
I can't do that anymore because my daughter's told me off.
Well, of course I don't do it because, of course, I have only 1/3 of my heart work, so I don't get into that. But I'll tell you what is so interesting, that you certainly have applied yourself as a parent to have a daughter who has literally graduated as a doctor, and I was just talking to you earlier, she's now gone into a specialist field of medicine, and
it's just my luck, isn't it?
And you think that I might be on the edge, and you think that it's taunting the audience to say Porky hasn't got long left. Is there any particular reason why you advised your daughter to specialise in the study of damaged livers? Because that's, in fact, what she's doing, isn't it?
She is, at the moment, yeah.
She's literally working as a liver doctor.
Well, they go through all different types, but at the moment she is checking out the livers, yes.
I've never heard anything like it in my life.
But it's terrible. Every time I go to the fridge, Dad!
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to have to buy her a flat.
What do you mean every time you go to the fridge? You mean for a sandwich?
No,
for a beer?
Yeah.
And she's saying, don't pour more beer through your liver and all that. Does she like
If you'd have seen the guy I saw today, Dad, I'm like, oh, give us a break.
Yeah, that's right.
Stuck record, honestly.
Yeah. Do you know what she's going to do one of these days?
What?
She's going to bring a damaged liver home.
Well, I hope she's not going to take me to that non-alcoholic brewery I was reading about.
I tell you what, you know, young people aren't what they were, and you're talking about young people, and of course, your daughter's graduated doctor, very responsible young lady, but she likes a nice bit of a sherbet now and then, doesn't she?
Not really. Not Stephanie.
No, not Steph, okay. But anyway, listen, I just don't get this, Al. When we were young people, we like to enjoy ourselves. What about this? It says here that mindful drinking is the new thing that young people do, okay? It's a modern-day temperance movement.
What?
A temperance movement, and it's becoming increasingly fashionable amongst millennials. Now, millennials, Al, for want of a better word, are young people who have taken another path in life. Not the path.
Bores.
Well, yeah, I would say they're bores. Not the path of bladderation that you and I trod. But and look, we've done all right. We've done out of it. I'm a bit knackered, but I mean, okay, really. Anyway, it says here, these young people are looking to moderate their alcohol intake, embrace periods of sobriety, or even become full-time teetotalers. After the growing success of Dry January, I didn't know anything about Dry January, thank you, the month-long abstinence...
It doesn't rain?
It doesn't rain, you're absolutely right. The month-long abstinence campaign launched by Alcohol Concern in 2013, other networks have sprung up, such as 1 Year No Beer and Club Soda to the Champion. The mindful drinking movement has emerged. Last weekend, Club Soda hosted Britain's first mindful drinking festival. It attracted 500 people to Bermondsey. Oh, crikey, that's only just round the corner from here. In fashionable, edgy southeast London to sample alcohol-free cocktails, craft beers and exotic teas and listen to live music. I just don't get it. I just do not get it. More and more drinks are being made without any
what
alcohol
sort of live
in them.
music? Jazz?
Jazz, yeah, the jazz singer and all that kind of stuff. There were almost 50 zero-alcohol beers, wines, ciders, mixers, premium soft drinks. Look, I just don't get this. In no way do you and I have any sort of problem with drink and how it affects our lives.
Well,
but
no.
Hey, look at yourself, pal, before you start looking at me, please.
No.
But what I would say is, one of the reasons...
You got me chucked off a train as well once.
I never got you chucked off a train.
You did, for being lippy to the guard.
No, yeah, but you were lippy to the guard, not me. You were the one who said...
Remember that?
I do remember it. And actually, it was quite justified, because what happened was, we had bought first-class tickets. We're then in the first-class carriage. One of the carriages then had broken air conditioning or something, a second-class carriage. So they steered everybody, the people that I sometimes unfairly refer to as the great unwashed.
Oh, you don't.
Into, well, just as a bit of a joke. Yeah, I don't believe they're unwashed. I believe they're pretty well-washed people, but you know what I'm saying. And they were all steered into our carriage. You then, quite rightly, when the guy came round checking the ticket, said... And quite politely, listen, mate, considering that everybody in the second class has been shoved into ours and made this very uncomfortable because we're crushed up now in first, can I have a refund on my first-class ticket? He threatened to call the British Transport Police and have you thrown off the train for, trying to, bamboozle him with science. Well, the reason why we go first class is because you're never off your blooming phone. Well...
And as I've told you before, you're going deaf. You shout a lot, so you upset people.
No, I don't. I never upset people. But one thing we always try to do on the train, have a leisurely drink, maybe one bottle in 3 hours or something.
Remember that time we're going north?
Oh, I certainly do. And the guy with his mistress.
Well, it was, yes. It was quite clear. There was a lot of touching going on. That was not his wife, was it?
No, it wasn't.
So we decided, the trolley came along, and I thought, Porky, this train is really busy.
Yeah.
I think we'll get in first. So what sort of wine have you got? He says, have a nice Chablis. We'll have it all.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he actually said, we've got a Chablis, got a Sauvignon and got a Pinot. Right, give us a lot. And so by the time the train got to Romeo... What happened then?
He says, I think, darling, yes, should we have a little Petit Chablis?
Yeah,
that'd be lovely. Yeah. I'm sorry, we're out. Oh, so he picks up the menu again. Well, let's try the, what about the Sauvignon? We'll have... I'm sorry, sir, we're out.
It's gone.
He tried about 4 different wines. Yeah. And he said, well, this is ridiculous. Where's it all gone? He just pointed to us.
Yeah, that's right, pointed to our table. We had 2 empty bottles upturned in the bucket and 2 that were full. And we just raised our glasses and smiled at him. And he knew he couldn't do anything because if he made a fuss about it, his wife would have found out.
Yeah.
OK, folks, you're listening to the warm-up. It's myself, and I'm delighted to say my old pal and colleague, Mr. Alan Brazil. Al, I think we should have a look at what's happening in the transfer world, mate, because the closer we get towards the closing of the window, the more hectic it's going to get. The one that's caught my imagination, and I can't quite understand it, is Johnny Evans.
Well, a lot of people are maybe unkindly saying that, you know, it's to be part of the squad. He's not going to play regular, but... but how much are we talking about?
Tony Pulis. No, Tony Pulis is saying he can't go for less than 30. Yeah. How much did he go there for? 8?
He's not young either, is he?
No.
Johnny? I think is he 29?
29 or 30, I think. But not only is he not young, but I mean he was virtually sort of stamped on his forehead. End of Premier League career at the very top when he kind of, without being unkind, when he went off to West Brom.
He's a West Brom type of player, isn't he? You know, they like a big side, the set pieces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it did take me a bit surprised.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, Company can't play 38 games a season, can he, in the league at City? So,
no.
And if we all accept that John Stones is still learning, I mean, if he is still learning, they paid an awful lot of money for a novice, didn't they, apprentice, then... John Evans, I suppose, would be that stable force next to him.
I don't know much about the Tottenham signing. Sanchez, isn't it? I don't know much about him, to be honest.
Yeah.
Coutinho's the big question, isn't it? You know, that is... Yeah. That could make or break Liverpool's season. I really feel that strong.
I just can't say how he cannot go now because of all the factors involved. Firstly, he's put in a transfer request. So is that going to... I mean...
But so is Van Dijk, don't forget.
Yes, I know. But Van Dijk is not in the Liverpool dressing room and Coutinho is. Now, you've been at clubs, haven't you, where I think you might have posted a transfer request maybe or one of your teammates has posted a transfer request and doesn't that destabilise things when people say, I'm going off for more money and a bigger club, you know, which Barcelona are, obviously.
To be honest, with Coutinho, I think most of the Liverpool players
think he's going to go.
And understand why as well. When Barca or Real Madrid come knocking, and they'll probably get 3 times the money, cut of the transfer money as well.
Yes.
You know, I think they'll understand, well, it's hard to turn down.
I agree with that, and I'm not saying that, you know, anybody's going to be backbiting and saying, oh, you know, he's getting more money than me. What I'm saying is, doesn't a team, when they're about to, you know, come up to another vital Premier League game, need to know which members of the squad are going to be in that team, rather than having a bloke who's in and out and, you know, not his head's not there to play. I mean, what I'm saying is, how do you get the team formation right if you don't know whether your players wants to play for you or not? Yeah?
No, it'll be interesting.
Sure.
Van Dijk, I think, is a top player, so whoever gets him... I honestly think Southampton don't want to sell him to Liverpool. No. They want to sell him somewhere else.
You think so?
I do.
I'm sorry, I don't quite understand that. For what reason?
Because they're unhappy with Liverpool's conduct.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because
trying to recruit them.
Yeah, but I mean, with the greatest respect to everybody gets tapped.
I agree.
We all know that. Yeah, we all know that, and I think to have made such a public issue of it was wrong. I don't think they should have done. I think that should have all been done behind the scenes, because all you do is open a big can of worms, don't you, and say that, well, you know, it goes on everywhere, which we all know it does.
We're bringing you all the latest transfer news on talkSPORT with Toolstation. Click and collect. Order online, and you can pick up in as little as 10 minutes. The new catalogue is out now. Check stock availability and opening times at toolstation.com. A couple of quick hi lads. De Boer will try and play football against Liverpool, and he'll get battered.
Yeah, I think he will as well.
That's Tony.
Yeah.
So Liverpool do struggle sometimes, Mike, breaking teams down.
Yeah.
Whereas what Tony's saying is Palace will have a go and they'll open themselves up and Liverpool will hit them.
I totally agree. It's not really the Sam Allardyce way, is it?
Here's a nice one. Just got back from a lovely week in Nairn with the kids, topped off at having Big Alan Porky on the warm-up, says David.
Very good. Where's Nairn?
Nairn's up in the Highlands.
Oh, is it? I say, I'll take the high road and you take the low road. Now, let me ask you this, Al. Did you, at any stage after you retired from football, and you retired early because you're back, did you ever think about getting into coaching?
Not really.
Right, okay. I'll tell you why I'm asking that question.
I did have a little spell as player-manager.
Right. Where was that?
Whittam. Near Champson.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I know.
But then I got offered. Then I had an opportunity to go to Australia and play a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
And I thought, I'll go and see my brother, pop over there.
That's right.
And it was meant to be for 3 weeks. 3 games, 3 weeks. I ended up going for about 14 weeks.
Yeah, brilliant, yeah.
Oh, yeah, really enjoyed it. And then I came back. And then thought about maybe coaching, and then I got whipped away to Switzerland for a year.
That's right, yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? Now, the reason I ask is because, you know, some, maybe 20 years ago when you retired, probably the only way to earn a living those days was try and get some sort of coaching job or something like that. Whereas now, of course, a lot of footballers retire and they become media pundits. So, for instance, I'm reading a piece from Frank Lampard, and Frank is so honest. He says he was asked, are you ever going to, miss the thrill, like you must have done, miss the thrill of the dressing room with the lads, the camaraderie and the nerves and the adrenaline before the game? He says, well, look, he says, there may be times when that withdrawal system will arise. He said, but it hasn't so far. There might be a London derby. He said, but quite frankly, I've only fleetingly had that feeling so far. People ask, how did I feel about retiring? And the honest answer is, I feel very happy about it. That sounds like I'm saying it quite coldly, but I'm not a boxer in life, as in I box things off. I don't have any desire to play in Legends games or anything like that. I feel so lucky to have had the playing career I had, but it has ended now, and that is that. I think that's a great attitude to have in life.
Well, I'm a bit like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah, and then just to endorse that, right? I've got a picture here. This is all part of the same research. Where are England's Euro 2014 now? Okay. And this is the one at which you and I went to, and where Wayne Rooney, in Lisbon, in Portugal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And where Rooney emerged, okay. And amazingly, Ashley Cole still playing in LA. Michael Owen, sports pundit. Wayne Rooney still playing for Everton. John Terry still playing for Aston Villa. David James, sports pundit. Sol Campbell, I didn't know this, by the way, did you? Assistant coach for Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah.
You did? Okay,
yeah.
Great. Frank Lampard, sports pundit. Stephen Gerrard, sports pundit. Gary Neville, sports pundit. David Beckham retired altogether. Paul Scholes, sports pundit. So 7 of that team, that England team, now earn their living by...
Talking about it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, there's
nothing wrong with that at all.
No, we're all different with our ideas, at the end of the day. But, I remember walking in, crikey, 17 and a half years ago into... it was the year 2000.
Yes.
I walked into the talkSPORT or Talk Radio at the time.
That's right.
In Oxford Street.
It's Oxford Street.
And you totally blanked me.
No, I didn't.
You did.
No, we met for the first hour. I didn't.
No, you blanked me.
No, I'll tell you, I was over Ordell. You'd been a great footballer.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
I heard you say to Claire, who's that? Who's he?
No, not
Yeah,
at all. Not at all. You had a fair old jumper on. You had your back to me. So I just said, who's that? And I was asking a question. I wasn't saying, oh, that man is unrecognisable. You had a very recognisable face because, you'd had an outstanding football career. So that is completely untrue. However, I put you on the straight and narrow road, got you into broadcasting. You have become a member of the Radio Academy since then. So I think you can actually say, if it wasn't for the Portmeister, I'd be nobody. I think you could say that. I don't think
you had anything to do with it.
I had everything to do with it.
No.
There were some people there who were utterly opposed to the idea of... because you...
And the 2 sackings, does that jog any memories?
Well, that was just circumstances, Alan. That was something personal, No,
it wasn't.
Well,
no. Yeah. One of them was we were at Cheltenham.
Yes, that's right.
And you crept back because the boss said, I want you back. You're not watching the Gold Cup. You do the show, you come straight back.
Yes, that's right.
And you went, I've got to go, Al.
Yeah.
I've got to go.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But,
I stayed. And I missed Friday's show.
Yes, you did.
And then you sacked me.
I'm afraid there were circumstances there. I mean, for instance, we were still building the station, and the chief guest the following morning was Ken Bates. And we had Ken Bates in the studio for an hour, and I had to handle that all myself while still dealing with the crisis of where you were, because we actually had no idea where you were the following morning.
And then there was a little incident in Holland, if I recall.
In Holland?
Yeah,
what was
in
that?
Holland.
In Holland?
When I was struggling a wee bit, it was jet lag or something, and
jet lag.
There was a bowl of M&Ms.
Well, yeah, listen, I was trying to carry the show on my own. It was very difficult anyway because the run notes were all over the place, And what was disgraceful was that you were trying to take my attention away by being too exhausted to actually get to air. But as you quite rightly say, picking up individual M&Ms out of a bowl of M&Ms on the table in our suite in the hotel, and you were throwing them at my face as I was trying to broadcast. It was a huge distraction.
Was that the morning after you took me to that seedy bar in one side of Amsterdam?
I didn't take you anywhere. I didn't take you anywhere.
It's all coming back, Porky.
I didn't take you anywhere, mate. I wouldn't be into that sort of thing. It's a family show, believe me.
This is not good. This is not good, this email. Every minute from you two is another signature on MG's redundancy notice.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, I mean, look, if the boy can't apply himself to his job, if he wants to go off and lie on a sun lounger in Rhodes and send me pictures of him dipping into his infinity pool,
Oh, really?
Infinity pool? Who cares about infinity pools?
What, with Speedos on? Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Absolutely.
Oh.
So I did say to him, I said, look, I can't hold things out for you, mate, when you're away. People really loved me doing the show on our sister station, Talk Radio, last week on my own. They said it was sparkling, it was informative, it was illustrative, and they just said, why don't we think about that as a future, So I'm not sure what beckons for MG when he gets back. There's no great call
Kick
for him
a
to
man
come
when
back.
he's down.
Well,
see this. What sort of are you confident you're in for a big year?
Well, I hope so. But as I say, I went to the first game, right, and I took my seat there, and Rooney came out in a Everton shirt and all that kind of stuff. It was brilliant. But then, I hate being critical, but you can't close your mind to this. I thought we played a bit sort of side to side, Al. You know what I mean? And I wanted a
side
bit,
to side.
Well,
crossways rather than
yes, absolutely.
Lack of penetration.
Well, but something like that. I thought, well, hang on, it's only the first game of the season. Don't worry, they're finding their length and their measure and all that kind of stuff. But since then, Gylfi Sigurdsson has joined us. Okay, so everybody says that'll make a huge difference. But I think, and I'm not telling anybody that anything that Mr. Koeman hasn't already said, we are still looking for a striker. Now, do you think that the prospect of playing for Everton up front every week would tempt Olivier Giroud to come out of Arsenal, where he is not guaranteed a starting place every week, and go to Everton? Do you think that would? I mean, if you were him and you were sitting on the bench at Arsenal, and Mr. Koeman, a legendary footballer himself,
I honestly feel
you
that
can start for me.
I think he feels he's going to play his way back into the Arsenal side.
Yeah, well, I don't blame him, because I thought that
Vardy would be a good buy.
Well, Vardy would be brilliant, and I haven't heard anybody say that except you. But it's a great piece of initiative, and if Everton's ambition matches breaking into the top four, that's what you need, because Vardy would guarantee that. I have no doubt about it. Vardy would guarantee it. Now, there's lots of lovely messages coming in.
There is.
I want to thank everybody.
Amazed.
Tracy here says, "Hi boys, really enjoying the show. Great trip down memory lane. Poor old MG getting pelters from all over the world. I love it." Well, thank you, Tracy. It's not necessarily going down memory lane, to be honest, but Al and I have been here since the start, and it's nice to reflect on how the whole thing grew to where it is today.
I don't like being called a lunatic. This guy says, "Can these two lunatics have their full-time slot back? They're funnier than H&J, despite the fact they hardly ever mention sport."
It's a bit harsh, isn't it? You can't have everything. One here from Matty. He says, "Okay, guys, great show. You're both on great form today. Well done." And one particularly here from Sydney.
Sydney?
Sydney in Australia. Actually, I've lost it. Here we go. Great to have Porky and Brazil back, just like it was. Listening from Sydney, Australia. The minute I heard you two were getting together again, made sure I was tuned in. Top-level banter, fellas, and Comedy Gold. Hey, listen, when you keep saying top-level banter and Comedy Gold, you've got to remember, we are serious broadcasters, okay? Very serious broadcasters. We know a lot.
Yeah, that brings it on the story in Amsterdam. Oh, dear. Remember, England-Holland, the first game in the new stadium.
I certainly do.
In Amsterdam.
Yes. And
see, there was another time you were an absolute disgrace. You not remember that?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Oh, yes, because you give me a rollicking. We got in trouble from the boss at the time, right?
Yes.
And you give me a rollicking, and you were... do you remember? It was John Sadler's last game from the Sun.
It was, actually.
Right?
Yeah,
do you remember that?
Yeah.
And every time you tried to have a go at me and give me a dressing down, someone would come round the corner, Mike, Alan, you all right?
Yeah.
And eventually I said, look, this is ridiculous.
Yes.
If you're going to give me a rollicking, let's do it in private. Let's go over to that little restaurant.
The Italian restaurant.
Yeah,
the
Italian restaurant.
Yeah.
9 bottles of Pinot later.
That's right.
We then got in a cab and went to the game.
That's right.
You had your feet out the window. Get in there. Here we go.
No, I didn't.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
That's an outrage.
And we got to the ground.
I was the boss of talkSPORT at the time. I wouldn't behave like that.
We got to the ground.
Yeah.
And it all kicked off, if you remember. The England fans couldn't get in. The turnstiles weren't open.
That's right.
And there was and we got split up because 4 police horses charged the England fans.
Nearly trampled me.
And I thought, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
England, Holland. I'm a jock. What am I doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
So I got the cab who'd just done a U-ey. I got the cab back to...
You got back in it.
And you don't remember the game at all?
Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. What was most funny was the following day we went back to that Italian restaurant for lunch, and when we walked in,
well, they all applauded us, didn't they?
Applauded us, and then the boss of the restaurant said something to his head waiter, who then disappeared. And then about 15 minutes later, the head waiter arrived back with a case of Pinot Grigio on his shoulder because there wasn't any left. Just funny. Anyway, another one here because I like our regular correspondence. Luxury Lizzie says, fabulous to hear you two doing the show today, fellas. Almost makes me feel like reviving the FMP list, which, of course, in our day was the first Mrs. Parry. Well, I'm afraid that list is shut now. All ambitions in that direction have been ceased.
Do you never, when you're on your own all the time?
I'm not on my own.
No, you are. Do you never get lonely?
No, I never get lonely.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I don't get lonely because, frankly, there's always things to do. You know what I mean?
Well, like what?
What?
Like what?
Well, looking after things. I have a lot to look after.
A few more glasses and then tweeting.
No.
Upsetting people, picking fights with people.
I tell you what, MG's the king of that one. He and you know what? He likes getting into intellectual debate, and I haven't found anybody yet who's actually beaten him. Kenny here says, listening to Big Al and Porky telling the story of which story is this? Oh, buying up all the wine on the train. Absolutely brilliant. Well, these things are happening in the past.
The guy had the right hump.
It was, yeah. And one here from Gran Canaria, so it's coming in from all over the world. Listening to you do guys while on holiday in Gran Canaria. Never heard a show before where Al couldn't get a word in. Well, are you mad? Are you mad? I mean...
With the greatest respect,
yes.
If you're on holiday in Gran Canaria and you want to listen to us, wouldn't you be just, have a nice time on holiday? You don't want to listen to us.
No, I don't agree. I mean, OK, in Gran Canaria, it'd be too hot for me, but I mean, if it was me and I wanted to listen to something, I would retire to a sun shade, what's it called, like an umbrella type thing, get under that, put the old earphones in, be sipping a bit of, Gran Canaria, is that Portugal?
No.
Or Spain. So now I don't like Spanish wine, you see. I don't like Rioja. So I would be on the San Miguel's probably, a few beers and all that kind of stuff and taking in information through my earphones because that's what you do these days.
Last time when any trips to Iceland coming up?
Iceland's now too crowded for me. It's become too popular. I discovered it, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. And I used to like going. And it was magnificent in those days because the plane would fly over this volcanic island, it was all dark and all that kind of stuff. You get to the hotels. The only people there were Icelanders, OK? These days, there are so many tourists there.
Why, do you think there'd be more Russians than Icelandics?
Probably, but do you know what sparked a rush to Iceland? It was Iceland's defeat of England in the European Championships.
Yeah, but you went there way before that.
way before, but what the Icelandic are now complaining about is that a lot of the volcanoes and things that people go to see are getting worn away by tourists.
So I had to get my knees injected the other day, right?
Oh, yeah.
In Soho. So afterwards... the guy's brilliant. He's brilliant, by the way. As a physio,
it's all down to the cortisone that used to have.
Well, it's like a lubricant.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
They put it into your kneecap.
Right.
Right.
And it's effective, is it?
Correct.
Yes.
But he said you have to sit down for 20 minutes after. So I'll find a little pub.
Yes.
Sit down. And the gyro, we were chatting away at the gyro.
Couldn't you have sat down in the waiting room? Like an ordinary, normal person.
It was very busy.
No room. Okay.
Very busy.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there having a couple of pints, and she was. I said, "Where are you from?" She's Barcelona.
Who's this? The girl behind the bar?
Yeah. And I said, you got a bit of a problem over there, haven't you, with the tourists? I don't know if you've been aware of this.
No.
But they're revolting against it. And she said, well,
yeah.
Because people of this country come over to our country and trash the place.
Well, do you know what?
They get hammered, they get drunk.
Yeah.
They don't obey our laws.
Yeah.
What do you expect? I went... Maybe she's got a point.
Now, tragically, this was obviously before the horrors of Barcelona the last 2 days ago. But funny enough, Al, I'm very aware of that movement cropping up. In that part of the world, Catalonia, they are particularly proud of some of the, the historical traditions of, and they don't like drunken louts from anywhere, particularly from Britain, going over there. But it's not just there. You'll find in Spain, on some of those popular coastal resorts like Alicante and Malaga and places like that, they're banning stag parties. And I agree with it. I think it's a disgrace. I hate exporting yobbery from this country, and I don't mind the Spanish authorities getting tough with them at all.
One last one, Mike. By the way, how'd you get away with this just 2 hours?
Well,
this is a dawdle.
Yeah, but I'll I said to you at the start of the show, and I'll repeat it, it's quality, not quantity. That's right, quality, not quantity. In terms of 2 hours of quality beats 3 hours with MG, you know what I mean?
John, a Tottenham fan, says, great show, lads. Porky Paddy, you are the voice of reason.
The voice of
Can
reason.
You believe it?
I'm very rarely called the voice of reason, but thank you very much indeed for being 1 in a million who spots it.
Right.
Once one spotted it, the rest will.